Hello everyone, greetings again and welcome to this episode in our trying graphic designing. Today we are going to try graphic designing with Adobe Illustrator. In the previous video we had a tour on the interface of Adobe Illustrator. What if we try some design on Adobe Illustrator in this video? So we will not go too far in what to do. We'll actually try to reproduce what we did on the paper on Adobe Illustrator this time around. So you can see the reason why I was asking you to try yourselves on the paper. Now we'll try to go through the same things we did with the paper using Adobe Illustrator. So let's get started by just starting up Adobe Illustrator. So to do so, I am going into my Windows menu, then search for Illustrator, and then once I find it, I will just press enter and it will start up my Adobe Illustrator in a few seconds. So I'm just going to fast forward this until Adobe opens up and we'll continue there. So Adobe Illustrator is getting started. In a few seconds it should be ready. So obviously you will be seeing a screen similar to this one when you are starting up your Adobe. Alright, so we have our Adobe Illustrator started up and ready to be used. So once I open it, I have a blank document, so there's no document at all, so I have to add a document, and this is the occasion for us to see how to create a new document properly. So to create a new document, you can use the shortcut Ctrl+N, or you go to the File menu in the menus bar and choose new document. So it is actually new. So you have other options, which is new from a template in case you had templates, or you can open an existing document that you worked on with Adobe Illustrator. So in our case, we are starting afresh from a new document, so we go with new, which is Ctrl+N as shortcut. Then I press on the new. So Adobe Illustrator will now ask me the different properties and characteristics of my new document. So I can actually move this around. So in my case, I'm going to create a document. I'll just choose any random width, so I'll make it 1024 by 1024. I just want that space. There's no particular reason to that, I just choose that. Then I'll click create. Also before that, you can see the CMYK, which is the color mode, so I will shift it to RGB and then create. So I have my work canvas created, ready for me to do whatever I am going to do. So in our case, with the other time we started by drawing a stone. So what could we possibly use if we had to create such stone again on Adobe Illustrator? So if I think of it, the other time we use a pencil to do that, and probably some of you also use colors to make it. So I think the first thing to think of is something like a pencil or a brush, because they all achieve the same things. So we'll look for that tool, and this is where we see it. So you can see the brush tool here, and then you can see the pencil tool here. So any of these tools can help you achieve that. So when I take the pencil, I can come on the canvas. Of course, always consider the characteristics, the properties for that tool over here. So as I choose the pencil, the properties set here are for that pencil. So you can see the stroke width will be 1 point and the color is going to be black. So if I make any line, these are the characteristics I'm going to get. So if I click out, you can see that the line is black and it has the width of 1 point. So that's what we get. So you can just click on it and press delete on your keyboard and it will move. So the same thing with the brush. Once I click on the brush, and these same properties apply to the brush. So if I draw, the same things I'm getting, but this is a brush. So the 1 point for a brush is not the same as a pencil, because a pencil obviously is thin and small. But you can see the difference. Let me take the pencil again, and so you can see the difference between these two lines. The pencil seems to be a bit thin and not that smooth compared to the brush. The brush gives us a very smooth edge, very smooth line. It doesn't matter, I think this, it doesn't matter the size. So even if I increase the size of the line, then we still have this beauty, this flexibility with the brush line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use these two objects, these two tools, to draw the same stone or something like the stone like we did. So we'll start with the pencil, which is the normal tool. So what did we do? By trying to apply the rules we learn in the basic rules in drawing, so we'll try to create this same stone. So first thing I might do is to have a reference line. So I'll just have a line, an horizontal line, to give me that reference as the ground. So I'll reduce the stroke. It's too big, so I'll keep it to 1 for now. I can change it at any moment. So I'll take the pencil again. Then I'll try now to start from the horizontal line like this and come back to that same horizontal line. Then I get the line around my stone, which defines the stone's form. So the next thing I might also think of is to have a reference for my light. So I would like to place my light somewhere here using a circle like this. So I'll do something like this to show that this is our light. So I'll keep it 0 H. So this is where our light is coming from. So I would like the shadow to cast in this angle. So this area is supposed to be darker compared to the other area. So what I'm going to do is I could use the pencil, you know, like this. Obviously this is what we learned. And give me a second because I didn't set the stroke of the border, so all the lines I'm making are not feasible. So I'm going to increase the stroke to something like 3, let me keep it 3 or 4. So we get something like that. So I'll continue together. Right, so I get that shadow, and then I could also go ahead and shade like this. You could choose a different color here, you know, but I just decided to use the same color as we had. So since these lines are too big here, so inside I will reduce the stroke to 1. Good, then it will look like good. Then we get something like that. Also, I could try to, let me increase the stroke again so you can see the back and forth between the tools, and then try to, let me make it like 4, and then create this edge of the stone breaking, you know, another one somewhere here, right? And then I can remove my horizontal line, and I don't get the stone closing there, so I could just use the pencil again and go ahead and then close it like that, and probably add some things. So obviously you can see how difficult it is to actually get this stone done with the pencil alone, right? So I'll move on again and do the same, create the same art stone with the brush and see how that goes. So this time around I will not go with the reference, but this time around, so let me make a small reference as well. So I'll create a stone like this. Right, this time the stone is a bit big, so I'll go ahead and then create a shade around it like this, and then so we create a shadow, then I add the shade here to make sure the light is, and that's it. So I can also do the down here for it to look some way. Good. Now I can get rid of my horizontal line here, and I get a stone. So you could see, I think with the brush it seems to be quite easier because the brush is kind of flexible, more flexible, and it's pasty, some kind of pasty. It's really heavy and smooth, so I think it is quite okay. But there are various ways of making this approach. There are various ways. So this is the traditional way, using paint brushes and then using pencils. So there are other ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking this whole thing up. I'll take it here and this angle, and also take this one in the other angle. So I'll get rid of our light now that we know where we are placing our light. So I'll get rid of the light and keep that here. So I'll try to make this in a more graphic designer way, what I would do if I'm a graphic designer. So the first thing I would think of is to look at the shape of the stone. The stone naturally is a kind of rounded shape, although it's not perfectly round. So what I might think of in the first situation is to create a circle. So I'll create a circle like this, right? So things have moved faster than I thought. So let me get rid of this and keep the inner of the circle empty, and then give it an edge. So I'll give it maybe 3 points like this. Then once I make that, I will now try to transform that circle, give it this crazy form that is not necessarily a perfect circle. So to do that, I'm going to use the pen tool, the anchor point tool. This anchor point tool allows me to tweak these anchor points. These are anchor points. So you can see when I mouse over it, it shows anchor. And when I mouse over here, it shows the handle. I can use the handles to manipulate the shape. So I'm going to activate these anchor points so that I can come then again and catch them at any time and twist it. So once you activate the anchor point, now you can use the direct selection tool. You see, it's similar to the selection tool, but this direct selection tool is specialized in holding these anchor points and moving them around. So you can see I am getting a form that might look like a stone easily. So I'll get it like this. So something like this. So I get a form that looks like a stone. And the other thing I might also think of is the shadow at the bottom. The shadow doesn't always have to be lines like this. It might be another shape. So what I could think of also is maybe a shape like this that represents the shadow. And then I'll give it a background color, something like this color, not necessarily black. And then make sure that shadow doesn't have any edge around it. So I'll remove the edge color, the stroke color. So then this shadow will start probably from the middle there and cast back somewhere around here. And when you look at this shape, it looks like a normal rectangle. If I reduce the height of that rectangle and get it close, it might actually look like a shadow. Not really, but it might play the game of a shadow. Now when I decide to twist, so I will zoom it up so that I can get to see it closer. So I'll use the Alt key and then use the scroll wheel of my mouse and push it in front like this, in front, back, forward. Or you can use the Control+ shortcut on your keyboard to zoom it up, zoom it in. So I'm doing that. So I want to, let me catch this. So this is where we need transformation tools. So I will use any transformation tool like this. So shear transformation tool. So it goes like that. I will make it flat. Then let me go back and use this scale tool as well, taking it down. Get it behind there and push this one a little bit like this, so it will actually looks like something flat on the ground. so we'll get the stone on it. So now you can see that the stone, the shadow actually is on the stone instead. So I'll just right click on that shadow, right click on it. You click on it first, then you right click on it, and you see arrange, and you take it back, send it to back. You see, then it now looks like the stone is on the shadow. Right, the next thing I could do is to shade the stone. So to shade it, that's where something like gradient can be useful. So I will now use the gradient. It was showing already here, and it will make it look like actually the sun is coming from the left side and moving to from the right side moving to the left side. And then I could reduce the stroke weight of the stone in order to make it look a little bit thin, but it doesn't look like it's actually really different. So, and the color too, let me take it somewhere close to the shadows color, so something like that. And this, which color did I use? So I use this one. I'm going back and use the same thing. That way on the stone here it looks like the actual stone is on the shadow. All right, so this is one way, and this is what we call the design principles. So when you are making your art, you design your principle, you decide of the principles you want to use. So if you decide to say, okay, in my art, in my work, the work I'm going to use only lines and strokes to make my artwork, or I am going to use shapes and make my artwork, or I am going to combine all, then you could say, okay, let me use a brush like this and add on top of it. So something might be, let me change the color, the stroke. So let me keep it dark red, no filling, and then so you can add things on top. This line is not okay, so let me make something like that. You see, good. So you can decide to see to apply all these rules to your artwork. It's your choice. So you make up your art based on the principles you choose to make, and this is it. So this is one way, and let me drag it a little bit like this. I think the first one is okay, and you can even push it back down there to show that, yeah, the stone is actually, yes, there. Now we have a shadow, something like good. Or you could even make this a little bit lighter, like using a gray like this. Now it looks like real shadow. So now it doesn't look like it's a 3D object because it's normal, it's not a 3D object. So it could be possibly done if you apply some of these rules again in the drawing, you'll get it done. So basically this is something we could do to actually draw what we wish to have. So I'm going to push that aside as well. Let me take all of them. So when you have things like that that move around and you find it difficult to move it, you can group them. So you align them like this, or then you go to object and you say group. So now they become like one object, you can move them easily. So let me do the same for the first ones as well. So object, group, and then I like this one, object, group, so I can move them easily in all angles. Yeah, this stone looks like a boat, but we are fine. Right, so the next one we could try to do is the cap. So the same game goes on, so we can use the brush. So I'm going straight here and make it very quickly. Right, so we get our cap like that. So I use the brush tool, and then I get it. So I don't like the handle, so let me probably make the handle somewhere here, or something like that. So you see, you can go ahead and use the tool you like and make it as your design principle, your design element. Although I use the brush, I could have decided to say, okay, although I use the brush, in my principle, every single shape should always be double stroke. So I will do like this. Every single shape should always be double. Then I have to double this shape as well. So you define your rules, and then you also make the base of the cap of the vase, right? And you also double it from the A side, and you keep it up. It's your work. And then you give it the handle somewhere. You also double it. So that can be your design principle. It's up to you. Right. So you choose what you want to do with your work, and you come up with whatever result you expect. So this is one way. Now if you have to use the shapes to make the cap, obviously, so we'll go with a circle. So here I'm out of space. This is where the airboard becomes handy. So I'll just extend the space and continue my work. So now we create a circle like this. Make a circle. Then I will just give it a stroke of 2 and bring in another circle like this. So another circle like this. Then I will use the anchor point tool again and break this one. Okay, I'd rather use the delete anchor point, delete this anchor point, then I get something like this. Sorry. Then I use the move tool, the selection tool, and then take it up there, and I get something like a vase. Yeah, it's not well aligned, but this is it. Then once I have that, I can make a handle, still another circle. So this time around, based on the object I got, I'll use two handles for it to look like a vase. So I'll also reduce this one, take it around. So I'll keep it cartoonish, you know. So I'll keep it cartoonish, like a childish drawing. So I'm going to do the same thing over there. So I'm making a copy of the object by holding the Alt key and then passing my mouse on it. When you pass your mouse, you can see the cursor becomes double. Then you click once, you hold it, and you drag it to the other side. But to get it aligned at the same position, you now press. You don't release while you are holding the mouse and the keyboard. Then you press on the Shift key. Then they align at the same level, and then you can release everything. Now I would like to change its direction to the other side. It has to rotate, and then we go and make use of the rotate tool, and I want it to rotate from the middle, and in fact not even rotate, I want it to be reflected, so to reflect the other one. So I'll use the reflect tool, then still hold it. It should reflect from the middle, and then I can hold any place and then just drag, and it will do that. To get it stabilized, hold the Shift key on your keyboard and it will be stable. And now I can shift it back to get close to the vase, and I get something like that. Now to shade the vase, I can just give some background or some gradient color to this circle under here. So we do that and we get something. So in this case, we can decide to increase the stroke width for all the parts and get something really realistic. It is childish, but this is how you come up with artwork, basically. So I'll group them and keep it there. So the next thing we drew then was a table. So we'll do the same thing. I'm leaving the pencil part so that we move on with the brush as our basic tool. You can tweak the brush and do so many things with the brush. I'm keeping it natural and simple. So the table, you draw a first line. Then you make another horizontal line to it. Okay, let me increase this space before. So I'll increase the space like this. I'll get myself more space. More space. All right, so then we go back to our brush. Then I'm going to make the table like this, and then like this. So it's not straight like this. No, I don't like this table. So let me make it in this angle. then in this angle. The line is not straight. So this is where you could, anyway, when we get to the shape, you will see. So this is a string table I want to draw, because I want you to bring the emphasis on this angle of the table. Exactly. So we get something like that. Then I get the first leg here. I'll also, let me keep it 1. Then I'll get this line, this one a little bit parallel to the other one. So you have to make it shorter because it's closer to you. So something like that. Then I'll get the other one as well, a bit parallel to the other one. Right. Then this one, it will come up from this somewhere here. It has to look small, so that it looks like it's far from us. So I will continue. So you choose where your light will be coming from and how to make it look real, if you want, or you just want to keep it floating in the air, just to have a shape of the table. You get something like that. So you go ahead, make your table look good. So take some time to shade it to make it look good. So some lines on top, so it looks like a real table. So let me increase this line a little bit to be equal to the other one at the right side. Alright, so now we can see that there's an emphasis on this part of the table, so compared to the other parts. Alright, so this is it. We can make it with the brush tool. Now what if we use the shapes as well? So I could use this rectangle shape and draw like this. Now we need the scale tools, so I'll use this one to push it a bit like this. It's a little bit big, but we are coming, we'll reduce the size. So we reduce the size of the table. So we reduce the size, we keep it like this. It's too floating. Alright, so I keep it like that. Okay. Then I could also use the same rectangle shape like this and make it this and get a first leg. Alright, so get a first leg, then copy it. So by using my Alt key, I'll just drag it down here, drag it down there, then drag this one here too. So drag it here, then drag the other one the other way at the end. Good. So I have my table with all the legs. This table looks really well harmonized. It looks like a glass table. So we group these ones and we drag them somewhere here. Then we get this table. So let me highlight it and push it here. So we get this table here. So in case you want to also make the shades and other thing, obviously you could also go with a shape like this or make a circle. So in this case I could go ahead and use a circle instead. So and then remove the stroke color and then add some filling color. The filling color will be some light colors like this. Now, so I'll use my selection tool to push it like this, then send it back in the arrangement using the right click, send back. So I do right click on it and then I choose arrangement and send it back. So I can do the same thing by copying this shape down here so that the table doesn't look like it is flying in the air. Then we get this one here. So also you can see this line here is this leg is crossing the table itself. If it is a glass table, it is obvious, it's normal, you can keep it like that if that's the idea. So you just have to increase this a little bit so that it looks like this is the actual top of the table and we could see the other leg through it. But in case you want it to look to be an opaque table, you just give it a background color. You can keep it white but give it a background color, a filling color. Then the filling color is applied. Then you remember we drew this rectangle before drawing this one. So actually this leg is on top of this one. So in order to get it behind, so you do right click on this one, on this leg, and you do arrange and then send to back, and you can see the other part is hidden. So we can shift it a little bit down with its shade like this, and now we can see that the leg is coming out of the other side of the table. So let me also send this guy back here. So arrange, send to back, and we get a table like that. So now you can decide to give it colors if you want. So you choose any other color for the filling, or you can make it gradient if you like, or normal transparent blue, or plain blue, or orange, anything. So I'm keeping mine white. So, and here you are. So these are possibilities. These are things you could easily do with Adobe Illustrator, and this is just the beginning when it comes to things you can do with Adobe Illustrator. We could do sharper art, sharper designs with these tools. So far in this video we discovered how to use the brush, the pencil, the shape tools, the direct selection tool, and then the pen tools, delete anchor and anchor point tool. So these are the tools we've explored through this video. You can imagine how much we can do if we are deciding to actually exploit all these tools around here. So thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.